everybody, this is St-Pierre at Physikinaction. We have many topics that we'd like to speak to you in an oncoming time, but today we're going to concentrate a little bit on balance. So you want to have some balance. Most of my clients are getting up there, they're in their 60s and 70s, and I'm being honest when I'm saying this, and balance is an issue that has to be worked at. I had a ski team that I used to work with, and the kids, surprisingly, very good athletes, had problems with balance. I'm not saying I'm great at it, it's something that you have to work at all the time, but it is something that you can work on. And this balance that you have will prevent you from having injuries maybe at some point. If you're going to have some equipment available, you may have a gym, you may have some of these things at home. There's some simple ways that you can actually build up your balance, and I'm going to show you what I have. We have dining discs here. You can use them singles or you can use them in doubles. I like using them in doubles. I find it a little bit more easy on my older clients, because then at least their weight is stable. They're having their body weight on both sides evenly. Now this will work sort of like your crane does, because your ankles have to do these motions, okay? However, you get to adjust yourself with it. So usually I'll tell people to start by just staying really still and adapting to the motion. Then I'm gonna have them step forward and step back a little to get their ankles and their calves stronger. And then you can go a little bit from front to back, to side, either evenly or separately, depending on how you're comfortable with that. If you've had any injuries to your ankles, be careful to not go in a direction that's not, subscribed for you. You want to be careful with that, but it's something that you can work at and you can have a balance at. Once this is good, once you can actually hold your balance on it, you may want to try to move around on them. Usually I'll have people doing their bicep curls or some overhead tricep workouts, some shoulder workout, because then your center of gravity is moving around and you need to adapt, okay? Now, once you're good at doing this adaptation that's very arm related, upper body related, you can start doing squats with them. And when you're doing your squat, you can go as far down as you need, and give you some angle if you like. You can go down as far as you need to be. You can be like a ski, you can be in a tuck, you can stay there, you can move around, you can come up and down depending on your strength. But the slower your motions are, the more work you're actually getting on these. Now, a progression to this, a lot of gyms have these, and these are fantastic for if you're working out for any kind of sport whatsoever that demands a lot of stability. Wobble boards are awesome. They're hard, okay? So, square board, easiest one. It's got a pivot in the center, okay? They're not all made the same, but they're similar in most cases. You can work on it forward and back. Wide stands is usually much easier. You can do it, 1 foot or whatnot, but obviously if you have a wide stance, your base is much stronger and you have more room to play. Now this board, going front and back, you have to adapt with not overreacting in the front and back areas. So you want to try to stay calm and go down. So the point of this is that your board doesn't hit front and back. And usually what I do is I tell people to practice being just stable on it and then start doing squats with them and try not to touch. So like right here, I'm trying to not have it go back and forth. Now, a lot of teenagers, you'll see them on their skateboards or whatnot, snowboards and things like that. They're quite used to not going back and forth. It's part of their daily thing. So they're actually quite commonly good at this kind of exercise. But have them move very slowly up and down, boost it a little bit better, okay? You can also function in the other direction. When you get on, be careful. A lot of the kids use I have another board here, I'll just show you after because it's a progression that I don't use with my clients, it's a little too far-fetched. It's actually pretty good for that. When you come on, you're stabilizing with your hips. So it's not a forward back motion anymore. It's really hip action. So you're using a lot of abs. You're using your back, you're using your hips. So the same thing as you practice, not overbounding on one side or the other. So these are really good. You can always start pulling onto a wall, pulling onto a chair. Be safe when you do it. I always hold my clients' hands. They do a great job on it. Progression to this, round boards. Oh. Now, it's the same thing. The bigger one has a bigger base, which means I can be much wider, but now it wants to go in every direction. So you can actually just do a belly dancing workout out of it, but you can also do the same exact things as you were doing on a square board or on the dynamis. So basically, I'm just gonna keep this in my hands. You'd be doing one of those on there. You also have the small board. Now your base is much smaller, so therefore it's going to be much harder to keep your balance. I used these when I was in physio for my knee. So obviously if I'm showing you this stuff, it's been done before by people that know what they're doing in physio. So don't go using that excuse for not working on this. And it always takes practice. So that's the tip for today. You want to work on your balance. It's good for the rest of your life. If you don't work it, you will lose it. So therefore, keep it up.